There is someone in your life who carries feelings they have not spoken. Not surface feelings, not simple affection, something deeper than that. Something that lives beneath the level of ordinary conversation, beneath the casual interactions and the comfortable patterns you have established together. And if you have sensed it without being able to name it, that sensing is worth paying attention to. The unconscious mind operates as a vast interior world beneath everything we consciously know about ourselves. While the ego, the part of us that navigates daily life, manages social presentation, and constructs a coherent sense of identity, works constantly to filter and organize experience, the unconscious holds what the ego cannot afford to hold. The most authentic feelings often live there, untouched by the rationalizations and social defenses that govern conscious awareness. And the feelings that tend to run deepest are precisely the ones the ego has the most reason to suppress. Intense attractions, profound longings, desires that threaten to disrupt carefully maintained equilibrium. This is why the person you are thinking of may not have said what they feel. The suppression is not dishonesty. It is the ego doing what it was built to do, protecting itself from the vulnerability and potential disruption that genuine longing would require if it were brought into the open. The feelings exist. They simply exist in a place the conscious mind has learned to look away from. Carl Jung identified two interior figures that shaped the experience of deep attraction in ways most people never consciously examine. He called them the anima and the animus, the unconscious feminine image residing within a man's psyche, and the unconscious masculine image living within a woman. These are not literal presences but symbolic forces, representing the qualities of the opposite that each person carries internally and has not yet fully integrated. When these inner figures remain unintegrated, when the qualities they represent have not been consciously acknowledged and owned, they do not stay quiet. They project outward. They find the person in your life who seems, in ways you cannot quite articulate, to carry what you are inwardly searching for. And the result is an attraction that feels different from ordinary attraction. It carries a sense of recognition that defies logic, a pull that feels less like wanting something and more like being drawn towards something that already belongs to you. What feels like another person's secret desire for more may partly be the projection of your own interior longing seeking a home. The unconscious uses the people closest to us as mirrors for what it is trying to integrate. The special person in your life has become, in the deepest psychological sense, a vessel for your own soul's movement toward wholeness. And they may be experiencing a version of the same dynamic simultaneously, their own interior figures projecting onto you with equal force, generating a charged field between you that neither has yet found the words to name. If this is resonating with something you have been feeling, but could not articulate, consider supporting this work through the link in the description. These explorations take genuine time and care, and your support helps them reach more people who are in the middle of exactly this kind of inner recognition. Jung called meaningful coincidence synchronicity, moments where the inner world and the outer world align in ways that carry an unmistakable sense of significance. In the context of a deep unspoken connection, synchronicity often functions as the unconscious breaking through the ego's resistance. The moment you think of this person and they reach out, the dream the night before an unexpected encounter, the same song appearing at charged moments, the recurring symbols that seem to carry the energy of that specific relationship. These are not random. They are the language the deeper mind uses when conscious awareness has been resisting what it needs to recognize. The unconscious is not subtle when it has something important to communicate. It will use whatever channels are available. And synchronistic events carry what Jung called numinosity, a quality of profound importance that the ego cannot easily dismiss even when it tries. The rational mind calls it coincidence. Something deeper recognizes it as signal. When these moments cluster around a specific person, they are pointing at something real. An unspoken recognition between two people whose interior worlds have registered each other at a level that ordinary conversation has not yet reached. The shadow, The dimension of the psyche where everything the conscious ego has deemed unacceptable or too intense is stored, often holds the most powerful relational longings. What cannot be admitted lives there, not passively but with increasing pressure. The feelings grow in the shadow rather than fading, and they find expression whether or not the conscious mind cooperates, leaking out through projection, through the heightened emotional charge of certain interactions, through dreams that the waking mind dismisses but the body remembers. When someone very special triggers this level of interior response, when their presence carries an electricity that ordinary social interactions do not, when the silences between you feel weighted with something unspoken, that is the shadow speaking. The soul's hunger for something more authentic than what currently exists between you, pressing toward the surface. The ego's response is typically to rationalize this away, to call it imagination, to file it under friendship, to construct explanations that preserve the comfortable existing dynamic. But the feelings do not dissolve under rationalization. They become more concentrated. The shadow grows around them, and the person who holds them continues to move through their interactions, with you carrying something they have not found a way to put down. Paying attention to the symbolic language through which the unconscious communicates this dynamic is more useful than waiting for explicit declaration. Dreams involving this person, emotional encounters, imagery of connection or longing, recurring motifs that carry unusual weight upon waking, are direct transmissions from the deeper layers of the psyche. The lingering sense of significance after these dreams, the feeling that something important was being communicated, is worth honoring rather than dismissing. Intuitive pulls are equally worth attending to. The sudden impulse to reach out that arrives from nowhere. The warmth that spreads through your chest when this person comes to mind. The quiet certainty that something exists between you that has not yet been spoken. These are not products of wishful thinking. They are the unconscious signaling across the divide between its knowledge and your conscious awareness. And the unexplained tensions in ordinary interactions, the conversations that carry an undercurrent beneath their surface content, the moments of eye contact that last slightly longer than they need to, the nervous energy that arises and cannot quite be attributed to anything specific. These are the field between two unconscious minds communicating what their conscious owners have not yet found words for. What all of this points toward is something Jung called individuation, the lifelong movement of the psyche toward wholeness, toward the integration of all its fragmented and unacknowledged parts into a more complete self. This movement naturally extends into relationships. True completeness frequently requires a meaningful encounter with another who carries complementary qualities, someone who reflects back what the soul has been reaching toward. The secret desire for more that exists in this dynamic is rarely only romantic or physical. It is the soul's recognition that the current relationship is incomplete relative to what it could be. That something essential remains unlived between two people who have already registered each other at a depth that their explicit interactions have not yet caught up to. The psyche generates a quiet but persistent pressure around this incompleteness, an inner knowing that the surface level of the connection is not the whole truth of it. This is the call. The unconscious is not asking for fantasy or projection or idealization. It is asking for courage. The courage to withdraw the projections, to own the feelings as your own rather than attributing them entirely to the other person, to meet what is actually between you with honesty rather than with the comfortable evasions that ego defense produces. When that courage arrives, when the barriers the ego has built begin to dissolve and the hidden feelings are allowed to surface into conscious awareness, the relationship can shift from something charged and unresolved into something that actually serves the growth both people are being called toward. The unconscious, no longer fighting against suppression, becomes a guide rather than a pressure. The special person shifts from a screen onto which interior longings are projected into a real partner in the genuine work of becoming more complete. The signals have already been sent. The unconscious has already spoken in dreams and synchronicities and the unmistakable electricity of certain moments. The only remaining question is whether you will bring conscious awareness to meet what has already been moving beneath the surface, and whether you will find the courage to let what is hidden finally step into the open.